Yo, 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 welcome back, everybody, to another episode of PVT, aka Player versus Team. I am your host, Moo, and I know I'm up here by myself today, but that's cool. The boys got some prior engagements that they need to handle. Decided to run the show a little early today because I got some prior engagements that I need to handle a little later myself. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Not going to be too long of a show today, not going to take up too much of your time. Like I said, just a little early show to review the sports events that took place throughout the week and over the weekend. So starting with, of course, we know that the World Series coming up soon. Actually starts tomorrow. I believe around 5:10, 5:05. So before we get into that, we're going to talk about the WNBA finals. New York Liberty has won their first WNBA finals in franchise history. Long time coming. I feel like this franchise has been working to get to this pedestal for a long time. Brianna Stewart, coming up, her championship pedigree and being the champion that she is, the type of caliber player that she is, wanting to bring the championship pedigree to New York. This was really big for, Jacqueline Jones, her being a league MVP in herself, in her own right, and finally able to capture that elusive championship that she's been looking for her entire career. So it's really big for her. I know a lot of people were talking about Sabrina Ionescu and her having two stinker games back to back. But hey, you can't be perfect every day. She did, still set her team up for great shots, great spacing. They were losing that game big, especially in the halftime. So for them to come back from a 10, 13-point lead, a deficit, to come back and win the game pretty handily, I think that's really big for their will to just finish, to just fight. Shows that with their championship pedigree, their championship mentality, especially with the team going up against a team like Minnesota. I've been saying it all season. Minnesota is like that. They're really great shooting. They get really great spacing. They play really great defense. They have really great transitional defense and offense. Nafisa Collier, Kayla McBride, like those two ladies, Courtney Williams, ballers. Okay, straight ballers. All right, and we didn't even get to see the insurgence of the rookie Alyssa Peely and her shooting ability and how she's able to get rebounds and kill and dominate on the inside. And I understand Nafisa Collier, she fouls out early or late in the game or in the overtime period. So there is that, her being in foul trouble. Unfortunately, this basketball, right? But this is really big for, the city of New York, for that franchise. You should see a lot of jumps in a lot of salaries. It's going to be really big for that market. I think a lot of players should be probably getting poached off to other teams, mainly the new team, the Bay Area Valkyrie. I know there's a lot of free agents that are going to go to that team. A lot of draftees are going to go to that team as well. But bringing that championship veteran experience, I think, is going to be the biggest thing. And especially with the developing news of the Players Association not agreeing to the CBA in the NBA or in the WNBA. I think with the new avenue that the WNBA is kind of taking and the new eyes and the new lengths that they're trying to reach, I think this is good on their part, right? They have something that they can negotiate with and negotiate for. So if people want a better product, if people want to see these ladies and understand the market and understand the hype and where it's going, they're going to have to pay a little more money. They're going to have to really dig into them pockets and really find some chicken. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the ladies. Shout out to the New York Liberty. Shout out to the Minnesota Lynx, because I know a lot of people didn't have you guys in the finals or going as far, as you did. I did. I honestly didn't think that the Aces, just based off the early outlook of the season, I didn't think they looked the same. They definitely looked vulnerable, especially with Chelsea Gray being hurt. Kelsey Plum coming off the bench and whatnot. So it was just an adjusting period. And it's hard to go, it's hard to three-peat, right? It's hard to win a championship in any league, but it's hard to three-peat, right? So, having, what the best player in the league on your team and, having a really stacked team, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you a championship, right? And if you looked at the early matchups between Minnesota and the Liberty against the Aces, you can tell that the Aces just weren't the same team. They were playing a lot more through Asia. because Chelsea Gray was injured early. Trying to get Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum and more involved in the facilitation game and understanding spacing and understanding when they can take their shots and not to just be so shot heavy and to set up their teammate more. But hey, you live and you learn. They did end up making the playoffs, so there's that. But you got to come back hard next season, and expecting fireworks. I'm not gonna lie to you, especially with the new draft class that is going to be coming up in next I think next spring, I believe it is. So just looking at that, I would see, let me see, 2025. So just looking at that and looking at the outlook of who the players will be, I know a lot of name or the first name that a lot of people are going to come out with, or they're going to come up with, is Paige Beckers, of course, right? It's been a long time coming. I know she and this was one of the top recruits and one of the top players in college prior to her getting hurt and suffering her injury. I've always said that she was the Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark. If you know, you know, because nobody was really talking about Caitlin unless she was really in tune in Iowa basketball. Nobody was really talking about Caitlin prior to Paige getting hurt, because Paige was that person that they were trying to push forward. But long time coming for Paige. She had a really strong showing in her return last year from injury, taking UConn or getting UConn and those girls up against USC in the semifinal round of the tournament. So that's definitely going to be fireworks. We're going to get that game USC UConn back early, so that's definitely going to be competitive. Definitely going to come with some fire. It's interesting being up here by myself today. Not gonna lie to you. But then you got Kiki Iriathan. Hopefully I said that right. Most improved player for the Pac-12 last season, averaging 12, just about 12 rebounds, 11 rebounds, and 19.4 points a game. She crazily transferred to USC with Juju, so USC is probably bound to be the favorites to win the national championship this year, if not UConn for a repeat, or if not South Carolina for a repeat. Expect UConn to, of course, be competitive. Expect Iowa to, of course, be competitive. Maybe expect LSU to be competitive. Definitely expect USC to be competitive. So just look out for those two ladies coming out of Southern California. You got the young Helena Hidalgo girl and that went to go to Notre Dame, so she's going to be huge. Anissa Morrow, at LSU, like I said, LSU should be really, really competitive this year. So with her coming to LSU, learning under I forget her name all the time. Every time, but learning in that system with the way she rebounds and the way she plays defense and obviously her offensive prowess, I think that's going to keep LSU competitive. And then you add that with Flau'jae. Shout out to that girl Flau'jae. And I think you have a recipe for success. Just going through the top 3 or top 10, top 5 picks right now. Talking about the top college draft picks in the women's draft or in women's college that are supposed to be coming out in the draft next year. Azzy Fudd, Izzy Fudd. I hope I'm saying that right. If I butcher your name, I apologize. Shooting guard from UConn. Like I said, UConn should be really, really competitive this year, of course. 13 points, 2.4 rebounds, 1.4 assists, but she's definitely more of, like I said, she's more of a scorer, more of a pure shooter. So she should definitely be looked at as another one of those top recruits that is going to go really early in WNBA draft. Olivia Miles, she's going to be teaming up with Helena Hidalgo over there at Notre Dame. 13.6 points a game, 6.2 rebounds, 6.8 assists. So she is definitely coming back for a vengeance. She suffered a knee injury last year, so she ultimately missed all season last year. But she's definitely coming back with a vengeance. We see her scoring and her passing ability and her rebound ability. She's really an all-around kind of player, so I'm excited to really see her and what she can bring back to the court. I think this one is probably going to be the most interesting. And Janai Barker going to the Indiana Fever, power forward from UCLA. And if you know anything about Janai Barker, she is absolutely a beast. Can shoot really well, can space the floor really well, has really solid defense, really good hands that can work really well on the inside. So it's she's not probably going to be a super high thought as far as, you know, top 5, top 10 pick. But I think if you put her in that system with Caitlin, with the Leah Boston, then, you know, she really thrives, right? And I think Katie Lou Samuel's over there too as well. So I think with that system, especially with that coach and just how Caitlin is starting to transcend and starting to turn up her game, I think that's a really good recipe for success. Last one I want to talk about and is Dominique Malonga. Now, New York doesn't really have, outside of Jonquel Jones, really strong post presence. So adding another, you know, 6'6", 6'7" woman down in the middle is definitely going to help them a lot. But, you know, just coming off the WNBA finals, coming off the WNBA championship, we'll see how that kind of goes around because they're not projected to really be a top or in the rotation for a top pick. But, hey, you never know. They can trade. They can move up. And we can we'll see how that goes. Number 10, Chicago Sky. They look like they're taking Tahina Pow from South Carolina. Of course, as we know, South Carolina is going to be competitive this year. They always are. Shout out to Coach Don Staley. But if you know anything about Tahina Pow, straight shooter, pure shooter, like literally a sniper from 3-point range. If you watched her last year, she was dealing with some injuries, so was kind of banged up last year, but ultimately played really, really big in the national championship game when she got her minutes and she got on the floor. So, you know, 46% for 3-pointers, you know, 87 of 186, I believe. So, you know, her numbers are only just going to get better as, you know, the season comes and the season progresses. So I'm definitely excited for college women's basketball today or this year coming up. I know a lot of people, you know, are expecting to hear Juju. She's not going to be eligible until she is 21, which I think is going to be her 3rd or 4th year. So she's going to have to stay pretty much her whole college season. But that gives her and Kiki enough time to kind of gel and mesh, and hopefully they can come off with a national championship in the future or in the near future. So we'll keep an eye on that. Just looking at my phone here. Sorry about that. Got a message from my co-host Willie. He should be jumping in here in just a second. But yeah, just wanted to talk about a little WNBA, little women's basketball. Again, shout out to the New York Liberty for winning the WNBA finals. Long time coming, winning the first championship. I know it looked kind of rough, you know, Breonna Stewart missing free throws, especially in late game. Like I said, Sabrina Ionescu having the rough 2 games, rough closing games. But the way they finished was ultimately everything, right? Jonquel Jones, really big performance, you know, 2 games in a row. Phoebich had a really good performance, especially really good shooting performance. And Courtney Vandersloot, of course, you know, showed up in big moments as well. So shout out to the New York Liberty. Y'all did what y'all, you guys finally got over the hump, right? So now let's see if we can put it together and do it again. All right. Moving on to baseball. We got the World Series coming up. Starts on Friday, like I said earlier in the show. But I think, like we said a few weeks ago, this is exactly what baseball wanted. This is exactly what baseball needed, in my opinion, right? I feel like baseball needed this and needed to see the 2 best teams And when I say the best teams, I mean the two teams that spent the most money on their respective franchises to meet in the World Series so that we can see just who the best team in baseball is, right? And I think this is the start of a dynasty run for one of these teams, right? If you look at baseball, the outlook of baseball in the World Series within the past 5-6 years, just looking at the past championships, there's been no back to back. I think the last team that went back to back was the Houston Astros, right? And their dominance was something to be studied. Right now, I understand the whole cheating thing and the banging on the trash room scandals and all stuff like that, right? We don't know that ultimately had a factor or played a factor in them winning both those World Series back to back, because we don't know just how long or what methods that they went through in order to achieve that. So I'm not going to sit up here and say that they won or they lost their World Series due to cheating, right? But what I will say is we haven't seen somebody or a team or a ball club as dominant as the Astros in recent time. So just looking at the outlook of baseball right now, you had the past few World Series winners. Let me look this up. Right. So just starting from last year, Texas Rangers, right? And then you got the Houston Astros in 22, Atlanta Braves in 21, Dodgers in 2020, Nationals in 2019, Red Sox in 2018, Astros in 2017, Cubs in 2016, Royals in 2015, Giants 2014. Now, looking at that, there hasn't been any back-to-back teams in the past 10 years. I just went back all the way 10 years, and there hasn't been any team that's won back-to-back. We got the Giants that won 3 in a 4-year span, right? 2010, the Giants win. Cardinals come back to win in 2011. 2012, the Giants win. Boston comes back and wins 2013. 2014, the Giants win. So sorry, I had to sneeze. I don't want to sneeze on camera, but didn't want y'all to get that audio. But like I said, just looking at it, right? We haven't had any team that was truly dominant, right? Since the Giants, right? Like the Giants were the last ones who really had multiple championship runs prior to the Astros. But none of them have went back to back, right? None of them have really established a true dominance. You can kind of see the hierarchy of baseball, but then again, you can't, because it gets mucky, right? Especially when the playoffs hit, right? When October comes around, when November comes around, and people have to start playing their best baseball, you start to see a lot of the bad tendencies. You start to see a lot of the problems that a lot of people have been trying to hide throughout the season. For example, the Mets got away with really good hitting, but really bad defensive pitching. So when you get to the playoffs, you see that, and that starts to get exposed. So it's hard for them to overcome that, right? In the past, the Yankees have exceeded or succeeded with good hitting, but horrible defense, right? Pitching has been, here and there, depending on who's healthy and who they decide to start with the lineup. But for the most part, they are known as the Bronx Bombers, right? So they're known to have really good hitters, but until the pitching and the defense catches up, then all of that hitting is not going to turn out to nothing. It's not going to turn out to wins, especially in the big moments. So just looking at that, it's great to see them finally put it together. But what I want to see is who's going to establish some dominance, who's going to establish that they are the true best team in baseball and nobody can really touch them, right? And to walk back my comment from earlier, the Astros didn't go back to back, right? They went, 2017, right? I think they did go back to back, but I think one of those championships were nullified due to the cheating. So you got the 2017, 2018, right? That's when the Dodgers went to the World Series back to back. Dodgers come back and win in 2020. So really, for me, what I want to see is one of these teams establish true dominance. One of these teams, go to the World Series, win the World Series, be dominant in the regular season next season, go back to the World Series, and potentially win again. right? Just establish some way to show performance dominance, but do it the right way to where people can't look at it as a cheating scandal or, some type of this, some type of that, and just let it be for what it is. Two good ass juggernaut teams going head to head, and the best team ultimately came out on top. And I think that's exactly what this is, right? You got the Yankees, you get the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is exactly what everybody has wanted, right? This is what we wanted to see for the longest time. So just looking at the outlook of this series, it should be, a really good series, a really solid series. And I think a lot of people should be excited, right? You get to see Shohei, you get to see Aaron Judge, the two people who have had or have been the best in baseball for the past 5-6 years. So it'll be interesting to see Shohei's pitching against Aaron's hitting, right? Aaron's fielding against Shohei's pitching, right? Especially when you add Mookie Betts to that equation, and how he's been playing. I don't know if anybody's been watching Mookie Betts play, but he's been playing out of his mind, right? Like the things that he's doing, not only hitting wise, but fielding wise, is literally insane, bro. And I think it has to be studied because it's mind blowing, what he's doing right now. And looking at his interview from the past few nights, right? The world kind of wants this, like not kind of, the world wants this, the world needs this. Like I said, baseball needs this. This is something that we've needed for a long time. Two of the best teams that we've seen in baseball going head to head. Two of the teams that spend the most money in baseball outside of the Padres and maybe the Mets as well, because they do got really good hitters over there. Meeting in the World Series head to head. And I don't know, I have to look it up, but I don't know if these teams have met before, right? The last time the Yankees have been in the World Series was 2009. Which is big within itself, because you would think a team that spends so much money on their free agents, on the best hitters in the league, would be at least in the circulation or the conversation to make the World Series every single year, but they're not. So definitely shout out to the Yankees, but just looking at it, I can't. I'm back in 1998 right now, when the Yankees were on their tear, right? And they had, Joe Torre, that's when they won capped off 3 in a row. But just looking at it, I don't think that we've had a Yankees. Oh wait, we did, and the Dodgers won in 1981. We got a Yankees, LA Dodgers, New York Yankees World Series. Tommy Lasorda, Bob Lemon. Dodgers win in 1981 4-2. We also got it again in 1997 and again in 1998. So we were getting this matchup a long time ago, back in the early times of baseball, but we haven't got it in to what looks like to me over 20 years, right? So this is the matchup that we've all been waiting for, right? This is the matchup that we've all been kind of salivating over and wanting to see, right? Two of the best teams, two of the most, hottest teams in baseball going at each other. And I think it's about goddamn time, right? I think it's about goddamn time. Okay. Just looking at it, right? You got your pitchers, right? Starting off with Garrett Cole is going to be leading off with New York, and Jack Flaherty is going to be leading off for the Dodgers. And then, of course, you got your hitters, right? Like I said, two best players on the team, Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. This is the matchup that we want to see. This is the matchup that everybody wants to see, right? We want to see this. We want to see these guys go head to head, back to back, right? Mookie Betts, you add him into the equation. You add was Nestor Cortez, right? His pitching. Carlos Rodon, his pitching as well, right? So and like I said, New York got hitters, right? But at the same time, so does LA. So this is, like I said, this is going to be a fun matchup. This is going to be a super, super fun matchup. This is something that we definitely all wanted to see. New York has stepped up their they stepped up their defensive prowess big time. So it's gonna be really really big for them to see, or really big for them, for us for baseball. So I hope everybody's gonna be tuned in tomorrow. Looking at NBA opening week, right? I know a lot of people didn't expect the Lakers to probably win against the T Wolves, but Lakers cap off a win against the Timberwolves on Tuesday, and the Knicks lose big against the Celtics. I know a lot of people were expecting the game to be a lot closer. I thought it was honestly going to be a little closer, but when I turned into it, the Celtics had made 25, 24, 20, 20, 23 fucking 3-pointers or something like that, something crazy. So the Knicks obviously have some work to do, right? They have to gel. They have to, work with the players that they traded for, right? There's a lot of new names in that locker room. There's a lot of new names in that building. There's, a lot of new character, issues that people have to deal with. So I think it's going to come with time, but I do expect them to really be to be competitive, and I do expect them to be at the top of the East. I don't think or expect them to really fall off in any way, shape, or form. Main reason being due to the acquisitions. Now, those acquisitions could turn out to hurt them if the team's chemistry doesn't mesh, right? And like when you have guys like a Dante DiVincenzo, like a Josh Hart, even a Julius Randle to an extent, right? It kind of fits because you don't have guys that are too high or too low. They're kind of right in the middle, so they all know their role and all know their job, right? When you have guys that are up for a max or that were looked at as respective superstars of their team and they're coming to a team where they're supposed to mesh and gel, it kind of doesn't work out well, right? And this is different from the Celtics because the Celtics are built more like how the Warriors were built, how they drafted through the process and these guys kind of came up together and understood the system in which they're playing all together. It wasn't like these guys are here and then you bring in another guy and now we have to catch them up to speed, kind of like how that's going with the Knicks right now. So like I said, I do expect them to be competitive. I do expect them to be a lot better. I expect the shooting and I expect the defense to go up a lot more. But like I said, we'll see. The most interesting game of the night was the Lakers Timberwolves game. I thought that the Timberwolves were going to be up really handily in this game. They were not. Ant-Man didn't really have a solid showing. We had a great showing from one Anthony Davis. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like you can't deny AD Depoy anymore. I'm not gonna lie. I think we're really gonna have to start to take a look at this and have a real conversation, right? When it comes to Anthony Davis and his defensive prowess, not only what he's been doing on defense, but what he does on offense, but mainly what he's been doing on defense for the past 3 years, right? I think it's crazy how you overlook that for players that aren't even close to doing what he's doing, right? Like if you look at Anthony Davis, right, he's a beast on the offense, right? A beast on the boards, and he's a beast on defense, right? Like he averaged, I think, damn near 2 blocks last year, right? So when I look at Anthony Davis and I'm at, actually got a guest. Hold on. One of my boys is her. Yerp, what up, my dog?
What's up, man?
Actually was just going over opening week in the NBA, but I wanted to get your quick thoughts on the WNBA finals.
I'm a little disappointed because I was pulling for the Lynx.
Same, I was a little bit too.
But I think the right team won. But I was very impressed with the effort they put out. Very impressed with the effort they put out. They give them all they can handle.
Yeah, I thought, and like I was saying all season, I thought the Lynx were, one of those teams that a lot of people were sleeping on. Played really good defense, really good shooting. especially in transition, both offense and defensive wise. So
Oh yeah.
I definitely do think the right team won. Shout out to New York for grinding that out and battling, because that was needed for not only for that franchise, but I think for a few of those players and for that city, right? I think New York needed that, right? And now you double that up with the Yankees in the World Series, and maybe they'll be able to cap off a win. So New York will be 2-up in the championship game.
Yep.
Speaking of the World Series, what are we thinking about this matchup coming up? We got on tomorrow, first game one.
It's gonna be cool because Aaron Judge is gonna have to get off to a hotter start than what he did. He definitely gonna have to start because he didn't really come around till late.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to come around. He's gonna have to bring an active bat, and he's gonna have to bring it around early. You can't let that Dodgers pitching staff get ahead of you at all. Because we've seen it. The Mets was able to do a little something because they're able to match the intensity, but they ran out of gas. They need a middle reliever, and I think that's what they're going to end up changing. They need a middle reliever, and I think that's what they're going to end up trading Pete Alonso for. But they need a middle reliever, and that's why the Mets failed. The Yankee staff is at a little bit of a disadvantage, I think,
just a little
because
bit.
that Dodger staff is coming in hot. And we all know what sports is. If you're coming in at the right time, you get hot at the right time, you can win. But the pitching has been excellent. That pitching staff might be able to calm down the Yankees' bats and actually get the World Series win. But it's what everybody wants. Best team in the NL, best team in the AL. Payrolls match up perfectly. So I think that's what you're getting. We're getting what everyone wants, and then to make it so bad, show every time he still ain't pitching.
Yeah,
he still ain't pitching. So it should be, if the Yankees bats can stay hot and overcome the Dodgers pitching advantage, the Yankees got a great shot at winning.
True,
but if that pitching staff remains hot and they keep producing runs, Mookie Betts is playing good baseball right now. And that Dodgers team is hot, and it's going to be a good series. I think it's going the distance. I really think it's going the distance.
I don't doubt that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't doubt that. Like I said before you had jumped in here, this is what everybody wanted to see. This is not only good for sports, but this is good for baseball, right? Like, the baseball world hasn't seen two of the top market teams, the best teams, right, per se in baseball, face off against each other in a long while, right?
But you also got to look at you also don't mean to interrupt, but you also got to look at the con, because fans might think this is what they have to do to get to the promised land. And that's not necessarily the case. You don't have to have the biggest payroll in the world to get to the promised land. This is what we just have facing us this World Series.
As of right now.
I just want everyone to know your team doesn't necessarily have to do this to get to a World Series. You just need to play well, and your skipper has to be able to produce runs. You don't necessarily have to have the biggest payroll in the world if you know how to play the game of baseball. You don't have to.
This is true. And I think we've seen that for the past 5 to 6 years, right? I mean, you got the Braves, the Guardians, right? The Red Sox, right? Like, none of these teams have really spent a lot of money in the offseason, but kind of stayed stout with their rosters, just made like minor tweaks here and there, but stayed stout for the most part, and just weathered the storm in order to get to the promised land. But now it's like, and I think the reason why Mookie Betts said this in an interview a few days ago is this is what the world wanted to see, is like, and the reason why I say this is good for baseball is because you got the two teams that, spend the most money in the offseason, that are always in the tabloids, that are always in the talks, are always in the media talks, are always in the segment talks, right? and you're finally going to get to see them face off head to head in the World Series, the biggest game of the baseball year, for the first time in what, 20 plus years?
Yep.
Right? You got two of the biggest names in baseball, 3 or 4 of the biggest names in baseball, right? Facing off in a 7-game series that we know is probably going to be an insane slugfest.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when I say like it's good for baseball, like that, like this should the odds that this series is going to generate, it's going to be astronomical, legitimately astronomical.
Good pitching versus great hitting, and we'll see who comes out on top.
We'll see who comes out on top, man. Mm-hmm. I'm so excited. I've never been this excited to watch a World Series match literally since my A's were relevant.
So, oh yeah.
This
but like so real quick, I do feel for Pete Alonso.
That's why
you can see it on his face. But I really think the Braves will probably pick him up. In a trade, they need a good, reliable first baseman.
Yeah.
I can see the Red Sox possibly do it. They got the money. They got the money and players to make that work. That work. That money and players to make it work. But yeah, I think the Braves would be the team to go out and get him, because the Mets philosophy is gonna have to change.
Yeah.
You need good pitching across that rotation. You just can't be top heavy. You need good pitching across that rotation. They need a middle reliever, and some other things. And Pete would be the guy that you would move to get there. Yeah. And it also helps Pete because,
put him in a position to win.
And that's what I want to see him win. He seems to be a guy. I don't know him personally, but he seems to be a good dude. And I want to see him win. I want to see him win a championship. I want to see him win a pennant. So let's go. Let's make this thing work for him.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, right? I definitely get that. I think that's a very viable take. It's a very valid take when you look at Pete Alonso and look at the outlook of the Mets and what they need, and just looking at that type of the caliber player that he is, he would be the type of guy you move to address the needs. So, and same sentiments, man. That's one guy who I know is like Willie said, don't know him personally, but just seems like a really dope dude, really great guy. Worked his ass off to get to where he was, to get to where he is. And I just think that, somebody like that his work shouldn't be glossed over. And when you put that much work in and you grind that much, I believe you should get a championship out of it. So, and I think the Red Sox are a viable piece or a viable option, and the Braves as well. I think both those teams know the position that they're in, and they're primed to take the next step. So they are probably going to be primed to pull the trigger on somebody of that caliber. So
of that caliber, if he's made available, yeah.
Yeah, if he's made available.
He's a free agent, so
see, exactly. So shout out to the Mets, shout out to Pete Alonso. I hope everything works out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's one team who I was definitely rooting for to get to the World Series. I know the Dodgers ultimately made it. I am a California person, but I'm an A's fan. Okay, yes. I'm an A's fan first. So I was definitely rooting for the Mets to kind of get there. I wanted to see New York.
That would have been cool. We ain't seen that in a second.
We ain't seen that in a minute either. That would have been legitimately.
That would have been legit good. Yep.
Legitimately epic. But I get it. New York, LA, 2 big markets. I'm still not upset. I'm excited as well too. I'm just saying, that Mets Yankee beef. If you don't know, you don't. I'm telling you, like it's on a different picture. Picture Alabama Auburn beef, but baseball.
Yep. That's a good way to put it too.
It's a different level. So to get that on an intense level in New York in the World Series, that would have been insane. But like I said, I get it. We're getting New York. We're getting LA. It's perfectly fine. We'll go ahead and rock with that. But NBA opening week, we'll go ahead and pivot back to that. We had the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics going head to head. Boston wins handily. Shout out to Troy because Troy called it. Quick
Why
thoughts on the
wouldn't they
game.
win?
You said one more time?
Why wouldn't they win?
Yeah.
They're a better team. They're at home. And plus, I don't think the Knicks have any chemistry as of yet with their new pieces.
That's true. I did say that earlier before you jumped in here.
Chemistry matters.
It does. It does. And I think DiVincenzo knew that, which is the reason why he's probably so upset as to why he left. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And business happens. Right? We understand this is NBA, but I think mesh and chemistry matters. So even if you have a guy who was your teammate in college, right, you may work better with another guy that was also your teammate in college in Dante DiVincenzo. And I know that Mikal Bridges was there for a short amount of time, but he was there the shortest. DiVincenzo, Hart, and Brunson were all together the longest. So it would make sense to keep that core group together. But, I get it. Business moves happen, right? But I said the same thing before you jumped in here, bro. I said that the Knicks should still be good, right? I understand that they got beat handily in Boston, as they should. They're champions. That's supposed to happen, right? But I do expect the Knicks to gel. I do expect them to get a lot better.
They will. As the season goes through, they will.
Yeah, as the season goes on, it's only one game. It's an 82-game season plus the playoffs. They'll get a lot better. They still have to adjust without Julius Randle. They have to adjust with being so guard heavy, and on top of that, they're still missing two bigs that are really really viable for defense, especially in that system. So a lot of people don't put too much on that L. What we see in New York is going to get a lot better, especially with them getting healthy and just them learning each other and how each other plays. The T-Wolves and the Lakers, I know a lot of people had a lot of eyes on that one due to LeBron James. But only person I was really paying attention to in that game was, actually three: Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, and Anthony Davis. I've been saying this for the longest time that Anthony Davis needs to get a Defensive Player of the Year award at least one time in his goddamn career, and y'all got to stop hating. Okay? I don't know what it is. I don't know if y'all don't like him. I don't know if he's too light-skinned. I don't know if this is unibrow. I don't know what y'all hate about the man. But the fact is, he literally averages 2.3 blocks a game for his career. And
I think their hate comes in the fact he's always hurt.
Yeah, and I think that's the ultimate.
I think the ultimate. And then he didn't help himself when he posted. And he didn't help himself when he posted a clip of him playing that video game as himself, and himself get hurt in that video game clip. He didn't help himself with that shit at all. At all.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I was AD, running 2K would have to fight me for that.
Yeah. What's up, Michael? What's up, man?
My boy.
What's going on, man? But I would but I think that's why it's just the injury. No one is saying he's devoid of talent. No one's saying he's devoid of talent because he's not. He's a great player. He's a fantastic player. It's just the fact he's always hurt, and then he gets hurt at the wrong times.
Oh shoot, I'm crying, bro. Ronnie 2K would have to see me because there's no way.
You're gonna have to see me on that for real. I'm coming up to the headquarters
in the game.
I'm coming up to the headquarters.
I would have to go up to the headquarters and knock on Ronnie 2K.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, there's no way you sat up there and put me.
But then again, too, you also got to realize the fact he messed up because he left them settings on for himself to get hurt. You can turn them settings off.
That's true. I was going to say you can't turn the injury sliders off to where you don't get injured. So,
exactly.
What if he did and got injured in the first place and got injured anyway?
That's like Ahmed Johnson back in the day. That's like Ahmed Johnson back in the day. And WWE, the only reason, man, I think they killed that man. He was all big, strong, powerful. Always hurt.
Get hurt. And I've been thinking about that, man. Like, what if don't you just wonder if somebody got the sliders all the way up, but that injury slider off, man, and it's just like, dog, hey,
yeah,
brother, but you cannot stay healthy, bro.
You can't stay healthy. He great player. He a champion. Great player, but you have to be able to stay. Can you imagine, particularly in that Phoenix series a couple years ago? Can you imagine if he didn't get hurt?
Yeah, that's true.
in
This
that
is true.
series. Can you imagine him
And
didn't get hurt?
for everybody who's gonna say it, because I know there's gonna be some people who's gonna say it, AD has only played 70 plus games 3 times.
Telling you.
So
It's not a situation of Jaylen Brown. I think the reason why Jaylen Brown gets a lot of hate is because people might find him to be, how can I put this? And be respectful at the same time. Devoid of personality. That might be the reason why I think that's why he gets that hate. But when it comes to AD, I just think he gets hurt too much.
that's valid. That's valid.
But Jaylen Brown, I heard that brother on Stephen A the other day. And again, intelligent as hell. I'm not taking anything away from him. Bro, where the personality at? If you want to make yourself come out and really strive at these companies, these big, huge companies, your stats at this point of what you've done. And granted, all the feats are great. All the feats are fantastic. He ain't got no criminal record. He don't got no pet bull puppies. He don't know about no $200. It's all good. You can make a case the brother boring. And I think that's why he's not being looked at by these corporations or getting these deals. But Jason Tatum is.
Yeah. Jason Tatum, he light skinned, you feel me? He got the sun, he's funny, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, you have to be marketable to these people. You have to be marketable. If you don't show tomorrow, ain't nobody gonna come look for you. Ain't nobody looking for you. Ain't nobody looking for you. I'm just telling you, I ain't hating. I ain't hating. I ain't say I'm not gonna say I wouldn't sit here and say I don't want to be in that man's position. But at the same point,
oh my gosh, hey.
you have to have a personality. Got to. How you gonna be the face of something boring?
Oh shit! When you did his voice, I swear I lost it because that nigga really
heard him talking to Stephen A like that. Come on, man. You sound just as monotone. No inflection, no nothing. Yeah, and then this outside source. And thinking of all real quick while I'm on a tangent. 2 more things while I'm on a damn tangent.
Cook, man.
I hate when these people come up here, outside sources. Motherfucker, that's you. It's you.
Oh my gosh. Hey.
I heard from an outside source. Okay, we ain't never gonna know the source. So the source is looking straight at you.
Look.
That's you.
Talk your shit, Will, man. Talk your shit. No.
I'm just saying. I hate they do that. I know journalism. Okay, that's fine. But ain't nobody here no fool. Me, you, Michael B, everybody. When you say outside source, we know it's you. Trying to cover it up. You ain't fooling nobody, bro. You ain't fooling nobody, Stephen A.
Hey, oh my goodness.
World for Stephen A for getting to where he's gotten, you know. But there's a bunch of stuff I don't agree with, and that whole outside source things is some BS. And then one more thing I gotta get on attention, I'll give it back to you.
Go ahead, Cook.
Mickey Loomis, your sorry ass. You gonna actually come up, you 2-5. And when you are asked about making a coaching change, the hell you gonna say? Good teams look beyond the results. 2-5, you looking beyond the result? Okay. And then he ain't put no context to it either. He ain't put no context to it. Context has to be put on a statement like that. Look at old boy with Cincinnati. I'll use him for an example. He inherited a sorry ass team. But what happened? Every year, improvement. Had a little bit of a down season last season. We're going to see it end up this year. But context matters.
This is true. This is very true. You can't just I ain't gonna lie, bro. If I was in the press conference and I heard him say that shit, I threw something at him. Like,
oh, you 2-5. We looking beyond the
ball right here.
Right there. You finna get that thrown in your face. Dodgeball part. You finna get that.
Because ain't no way you just came out and said no dumb shit like what?
Ain't a press. Go look after further review, my boy Matt Moscona. Love him to death. He played it. And I agree wholeheartedly with those sentiments. You 2-5. You cannot tell me look beyond the results. The Patriots fired one of the greatest head coaches ever because of what? Results.
Literally. I'm telling you, I'd have dragged that man off the stage by his ear. Get your ass over here.
Yeah.
What the hell did you say? Did you just say that shit?
The wrong part of Baton Rouge because
look, because what?
Don't play that now.
Look, you was saving lives when you was winning. Okay,
yeah.
Saving lives.
Yeah.
These lose, y'all go back. Like, nah, bro. No, we don't. We ain't looking past no results, nigga. Hell no. Okay.
No, we putting you all straight up in the microphone.
Exactly.
Now, and then because you look beyond the results, and I get it, you got injuries going on and shit like that. I understand, but you're gonna get MVS. Everybody been talking about that's a great sign. That's a fantastic sign of MVS. No, it ain't. That man on the wrong side of 30, and he often injury prone himself.
Not to mention, he can't get cold
games out of him. I get it. Rashid's injury. I understand that. You had to get that. But really, we got to sign another 30-year-old
that can't catch.
What happens when you look beyond the results?
I was gonna say that's what happens. You look beyond the results, man. Because
I'm just saying. I throw it back to you.
Hey,
that right there. He said that the other day. In that press conference, that pissed me off.
Hey, I'm telling you, I threw something at him. I would have threw something at him.
That's gonna be when that man passed away. I'm gonna make sure that get on his tombstone. But that man passed away.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, most definitely. I'm gonna come throw a ball, right? Because ain't no way you throw a damn tomato at your goddamn tombstone. Ain't no way you said that.
Look beyond the results. Okay.
Good team. I'm tired of coaches lying. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm tired of coaches lying because my coach did the same thing. Came out talking about we're not taking. Nigga, yes, we are. Yes, we are. You are. What are we talking about? Don't be coming out here lying. We're not taking. We're trying to win games. No, the fuck we're not.
Nope.
Don't do this. We're not trying to win games. We are tanking. Okay. Tank for Shador.
I'm telling you, but I'm telling
2 weeks ago.
And Moo, I keep telling you before November 5th. I bet you Max Crosby next. I bet you. Bet you.
If it happens, we super tanking for Shador, okay? What? We are super tanking. I'm trying to tell you, bro. What? I do not care if we end up trading, bro. I don't care if we end up trading goddamn Tom Brady back to the Patriots himself. We are tanking.
Yep.
Okay, that is the definition of the season this year. Tank. Tank season. Tank Dale. Tank Davis. I don't give a fuck what tank. Okay. Tank Bigsby. We are tanking. Okay. Tank for Shador. And tomorrow, me and Mel are going to get into this whole back and forth with Shadell and Cam Ward because I know a lot of y'all just like to look at stats and don't like to watch the games. But I figured you out.
You gotta watch the game to get the context of it because you can have somebody, 2 touchdowns, 100 some yard total yards. The hell, 40 or 60 could have came in one run. That watch the game
last 2 minutes of the game.
Yep. Garbage time when it don't mean nothing.
Exactly. We can go ahead and cook y'all about that. Cook y'all about that tomorrow. Don't even worry about it. But like Willie said, I think that is a good reason as to why AD has not won a defensive player of the year or really just any postseason awards or any awards, all NBA awards because of his injury factor, right? And I think if he can put together a season to where he plays another season to where he plays over 70 games, I think one of those awards is coming, right? Especially if he has a consistent showings.
Yep.
That he's a top defender in this league and often and can do it on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to deny him anymore. But you never know.
It's on him, man. It's on him.
You never know because you got to stay healthy and they can't call you street clothes anymore. Okay.
Nope.
That's one thing that cannot happen. All right. Wednesday, yesterday, we did have some games. Warriors beat the Trailblazers convincingly. Pacers win against the Pistons. Hawks win their first game. Magic, Bucks win. Cavs win handily against the Raptors. Hornets win. LaMelo is back. Dropped 36. Pelicans win against the Bulls. I actually thought that was a really solid game. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
It's good to see Lonzo back. I would say in front.
Yeah, definitely. That's the main reason why I've been watching. I'm a big Lonzo Ball fan, as I've been saying for the past few weeks. So just good to see him back. Kind of getting his basketball legs back, getting his basketball knees back. So there's that. I thought the Bulls played a really solid game up until late. Started to run away from him a little bit. Definitely gonna need more from Patrick Williams. I know he's coming back from injury and whatnot, but that's definitely gonna need. That's definitely gonna have to change. I think the insert of Lonzo is gonna help the team a lot more. But when you have Brandon Ingram that's going for 33 and shooting like that from three, it's kind of hard to.
It's kind of hard to do anything.
But Grizzlies win 2-2 with Ja Morant back. And then you ended the night with the Suns and Clippers in OT. Suns get that win 116-113. Still no Kawhi. A lot of people are contemplating about him retiring.
That man need to retire.
Yep. And I ain't gonna lie to you, at this point in time, I think that is applicable. I think Kawhi, you got your 2 chips, you got your 2 finals MVPs, you got your money. I don't really
if we're gonna be a buck, because you got players who get on people in the media up there saying guys don't want to play or guys don't be better. I think Kawhi's situation might be a little bit different. His situation might be more chronic than anything else with his knee, because I think he wants to play. But I just think his knee won't allow him to. I think it's more like a chronic condition.
Yeah, I think he really wants to play basketball. I just think that he understands his future, right? Kawhi is a really smart person, right? He understands his future. He understands the outlook of his life later, and he's not going to risk potentially not walking again in the future just to play basketball, right? So when he's telling the Spurs, yo, like, there's something wrong with my knee, guys. There's something wrong with my knee, guys. And they're telling him, like, yeah, no, we can't find anything. It's probably just a little soreness. He's telling them, like, no, bro, something is wrong, right? So he leaves them, goes to the Raptors, gets a championship, but then ultimately comes to the Clippers. And I've been saying this for a long time. It's like, who's to say that he still wasn't dealing with those knee problems during the Clippers run and just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna deal with it and put this shit up there, put up with this shit so I can get a championship out of this shit. But now ultimately is paying the price on the Clippers because his knees are basically shot at this point.
Yep.
So I think he just understands, like, I'm not gonna continue to put my knees through turmoil to continue to play, especially when the team that he has really isn't a championship team. Like, he understands situations. So he's like, I'm not gonna, risk my future of walking to play basketball when I don't even know if I'm gonna be good enough or we're gonna be good enough to compete for a championship. And that's really the only reason why I'm here. So I'm not gonna lie. I think it's applicable for you to walk away, bro. Shoot. I know we're gonna talk about this a lot more on Monday, basket to basket, but to me, you don't got nothing else to prove, dog.
Yeah.
Great career.
Things.
Yeah. Great career. Things. Shoot. I mean, what else you really got to do other than silence the critics for talking about you're the worst super? Like, I don't really care about that, bro. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, nothing else really for you to do at this point, bro. Shoot. So
now let me bring this up. Before we move forward. What's this about Joel Embiid not playing back-to-backs? You better get the hell out of Dodge with that bullshit. What the hell, man?
We said it. We've been saying it on Monday for 2 weeks, brother. I don't know who the fuck you thought you was.
Yeah.
But one MVP does not classify you to be like, I'm cool on back-to-backs game.
No.
I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't have to. Like, what?
That's some entitled shit right there. That's some entitled bullshit right there. That's some entitlement right there.
Literally,
and all Philly is doing is giving it to him.
Like, all of the legends, all of the greats that we look up to in basketball and in all sports. That's how they're made.
Yep.
Playing through injuries, playing through illnesses. Like Jordan got a whole game, a show shoe off the shit.
Yep.
Kobe has a whole moment, tore his Achilles and go back to the damn free throw line. Klay Thompson, same thing. Like this is what this is how legacies are built, right? You want to be looked at as one of the best players in the league. You want to be looked at as one of the top whatever players in the league. You want to be looked at as this type of legend. Oh, I want to have this type of legacy. Like it's more than just winning championships. It's the moment in your career that build your legacy. So for somebody of your caliber to come out and be like, I'm not playing back-to-backs, that's a wild statement, sir.
And then Philly gonna sit there. Philly gonna sit there and put up with it. Nope, not me.
Crazy. That's crazy. From a player of his caliber, and you're completely healthy.
And here's my thing. You got Andre Drummond. And again, all you got to do is give him 25 minutes. All you got to do is give him 25 minutes. You got Drummond back there who can take the rest of that.
Rotate him smartly.
You pay 25, 30 minutes. You rotate Drummond. That's it. Drummond's a big dude. He might not be able to score. He can't score like you. But he can still get rebounds, block shots, and be a presence on the defensive end. So he ain't got no excuse not to play back-to-backs. No excuse.
It's just a crazy statement coming from a superstar, coming from a guy of his caliber. That's wild for you to say. That's absolutely wild for you to say, especially if you want to be looked at as one of the best big men in the league, if not in the league of all time. That's a crazy statement, bro.
Juggle with his slow ass playing back-to-back.
You know what I'm saying? You just can't say that, bro. Like you just cannot say that. Like that's just something that you can't say. Kawhi didn't even say that shit when he was doing all the load management and everybody calling him out for load management. He never came out and was like, yeah, well, nigga, I feel like I shouldn't have to play back-to-back. Nigga, I'm a two-time champion, two-time finals MVP. Shit, y'all know if I got knee problems, shit, I'm not playing no back-to-backs. Still didn't come out and say it. He was just like, shit, hey, when I'm healthy, I'm here. When I'm not, I'm not.
Yep.
Like,
Amen.
That's a wild statement, Joel. That's all
crazy,
I'm saying.
Joel. That's crazy, man.
But previewing some matches for tonight. We do got some more open tonight games tonight. I think the only matches that I'm really looking forward to is the Thunder and the Nuggets and the Kings.
About to say that.
The two matches that I'm really looking forward to. Timberwolves might want to be careful with the Kings tonight. De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis. You got Microwave Malik that's coming back healthy. Keon Ellis, one of their young rookies that came on really big last year. So be on the lookout, man, because the Kings may look different as a team this year. And the Nuggets, the Thunder. I think the Thunder, they look a lot better.
Oh yeah.
The additions that they added in the offseason, I think they take a major leap. You also got the Celtics and the Mavericks and the Spurs, but
I think KCP leaving Denver is gonna hurt.
Big time hurt.
You can't replace the talent. You just can't replace a talent like that.
And it's time for us to find out who Jamal Murray really is.
Yep. It's gonna be the season to do it right here.
It's your season to do it right here, big dog. We gotta find out who you really are, my man.
Oh yeah.
You feel me? Are you a superstar? Are you an all-star? Or
all because they didn't want to pay it. And I get it. You don't want to pay that second apron, but sometimes you got to spend.
That's true.
Sometimes you got to spend.
Sometimes you got to spend if you want to win, man. Yep. But like I said, other matchups include Mavericks, Spurs on TNT, and Celtics.
Toronto, Philly.
We should know how those are going to go. Now, before we decide to get on up out of here, I'm going to go through some college football rankings real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and get your thoughts. With all of the jumbleness, with all of the craziness that has happened within the past few weeks, right? Ohio State losing, Texas losing, Alabama losing twice. Here is the current top 10. Okay.
Okay.
Oregon number 1. Georgia bounces back and takes number 2 spot again.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State at 3. Sorry, I got a call. Penn State at 3.
Mm-hmm. You there, big dog? I think we might have lost him. I think we lost you, Moo. Come on back, bro. Come on back to me, big dog. Come on back to me, bro. But real quick, I just want to say this college football season has been wacky, has been crazy. Um, but I am enjoying it despite the fact my FSU Seminoles are playing like trash right now. But yeah. Let me see if I can get move back real quick. All right. But and then he said the internet booted him. Make sure I can get him back in, y'all. Yeah, but to finish out his thought of what he was saying about the college football season, particularly the rankings. Um, Here we go. He's back. We're coming back.
All
There we
right.
go.
I was gonna say I think I'm good. I had to go to the backup internet, but I think I should be solid for now. But
Okay, cool.
Tennessee at 7, LSU at 8, Clemson at 9, and Iowa State at number 10. That is the top 10 matchups or the top 10 rankings right now for college football. Quick thoughts before fuck around and lose internet again, I guess.
um, I think all said and done, I don't know if Oregon holds that top spot. Um, I think Georgia. I ended up taking it at the end of the day. If they win the SEC outright, I think they'll take that number 1 spot. I have to be a realist, and I have to understand that the SEC is powerful. And if you win
Mhm.
the SEC, it can very really be on its own, put you in that number 1 spot. Um, and not taking away anything from Oregon. But their conference just doesn't have the power with the voters. Doesn't have the um it doesn't have the power that the SEC does. So if Georgia wins it outright, I think Georgia might end up being your number 1.
I don't doubt that. And I share the same sentiments. I don't think Oregon is going to stay at number 1. I've always said this: Oregon finds a way to kind of fumble the ball towards the
Yup.
end, especially when it matters. Um, there have been a lot of flip floppers in this top 10 or in the top of the league so far. So I don't expect anybody to stay where they're at. I think it's going to be very interesting when it comes to the playoffs
Oh yeah.
this year.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to look how it's looked before. SEC heavy, this person heavy, this team heavy. We're going to get a nice, healthy mix of some really good teams in there. And I think this draft class is going to be really, really good going forward.
Bama has no just real quick, Alabama fans, before y'all get on me, before y'all get on seeing what I'm saying. You 5-2. No. No.
with
Paul
two bad
Farmer
losses,
make will
two
be
bad games.
what's that?
There were 2 bad losses to 2 bad teams.
Yeah, you know, Paul Feinbaum ain't enough to get you in. Not this time. No. Mm-mm.
Hey, he said it. He said it, and that's a fact. Paul Feinbaum ain't gonna be enough to get you in, and
He's not good enough to get you in.
You ain't got the name of Nick Saban. So
nope, not enough.
There you go. Yeah, it's not enough. But before I go ahead and go through some technical difficulties again, we can go ahead and get our final thoughts. So Willie, go ahead and kick us off.
Definitely check us out. Sports Report Podcast every Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We on national streaming sports on Roku. You can check it out there Monday night, 10 p.m. You can also catch us on our YouTube and our Twitch channel. Geek Gauntlet Podcast. You can catch me there every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. That is on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. You can definitely check us out. We get you caught up on everything: your anime, your gaming, your comics, anything in that genre we got you covered. So you can definitely check me out on those 2 spots. And fuck you, Mickey.
Make sure y'all catch them shows. You heard what he said.
Fuck you, Mickey Loomis. Fuck you. Beyond the results. Fuck you.
And fuck you, Rob, for ruining baseball. Just
yeah, fuck you too, Rob Manfred. You fucking up my sport.
Like I said, great show today. Appreciate my boy Willie for finding the time to slide through. It was kind of interesting doing this by myself for a little bit, but never felt right without my boys here. So shout out to my boys. Y'all seen DJ Michael be in the comments. We will be back hopefully next week. We'll try to run an early show next week. We know it's a holiday, so we'll try to come at you guys a little early next week. But if not, we'll definitely get a video out to you guys anyway. Make sure you guys catch Inside the Huddle tomorrow when me and Mel got a very special interview with a very special guest tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune in for that because you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be great because this is going to take Inside the Huddle to some new avenues and some new lengths. Make sure you guys catch Basket to Basket on Monday. Going to be breaking down a lot of the NBA season, preseason, and opening week. Gentlemen's Talk is going to be coming at you next week with another fire roundup 32. And like I said, we'll be back again with either a live or a video on Thursday for PVT. Make sure you guys go fuck with my boy Willie. Follow all of his links. Follow all of his socials. The Geek Gauntlet Podcast, Sports Report on Monday. And remember, tell your friend to tell a friend, like, comment, subscribe, and we will see y'all next week. Peace.
Girl, you rockin'.